welcome into the DNVR Rockies podcast, brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. Now, when you use promo code DNVR, you're going to receive $200 in free bets instantly when you make a $5 bet this and any Sunday. That's code DNVR only at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. I am Patrick D. Lyons.
And I am Suzie Hunter. Patrick, what did I say I was going to do today? What did I say yesterday?
You said you wanted to talk about the division series, but more specifically, your postseason team this year in 2022.
I said I was going to wear a Mariners hat.
And there you go.
I have a Mariners hat. It's a
You
giveaway
got it.
from KeyBank. KeyBank.
There you go.
Here we
got
go.
it. And it's got the Mariners logo on the back. That's actually a very nice hat.
It's for a giveaway? This is a great hat.
Yeah. Rockies only had the one giveaway of a nice winter cap when it was like 95 degrees
The
out.
winter cap. No, they had the Panama hat too. Don't forget the Panama hat.
Oh, that's true.
Don't sleep on the Panama hat.
I did take that one. I did say, I'm going to save that one. I can probably use that for a costume maybe in the off season if I want to go as Scarface or something like that. I don't know. If I want to do like a
I've never seen Scarface.
Heisenberg.
Does Scarface wear Panama hats?
It's a guy movie. No, actually, he doesn't wear hats at all.
Is that the name of the character, or is that just the name of the movie?
No, that's his. I think that's his
what he
nickname.
goes by?
He does go by that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we.
I'm so clueless. I literally have no idea.
That's not the last mention of the word Panama here in the show. We'll talk about that.
Speaking of Panama, no, we'll get to it.
We've got new statistics. The season's over, but yet some Rockies have themselves some new statistics. A letter from Dick Monfort, as well as an old team that Dick Monfort used to own, has some interesting news. We'll hand out a couple awards for the best of 2022, and of course, preview the Division League Series. But we did get it confirmed. We were hoping that was going to be the case. Justin Lawrence, Team Panama.
Yes.
That's awesome.
I'm so excited. Yeah, of course, we talked a little bit at the end of the season about, whether or not he would be able to be involved. And he was like, I would love to. And now it's all coming to fruition.
Yeah, that's really neat. I hope he gets to close out some of those games late. I haven't looked exactly who's on the roster, but from some of the names that he's mentioned, Panamanian players, he might have the best pedigree. So he'll definitely be pitching in some important spots there, which was really cool to see. According to Danielle Allentuck of the Gazette, a.k.a. Danielle from the Gazelle,
yes,
as she's fondly known in our press box, there was a scoring change from like 2 weeks ago against the Giants.
When did this happen? So,
I don't even know the play.
Did this scoring change just happen?
Yes. Yeah, it was just announced, or it wasn't even announced. It was.
How can you go back and change something that happened 2 weeks ago?
I have no idea. Teams can petition. They can petition for different things to be tweaked, and I'm wondering if the Rockies realized Kyle Freeland is the only Rockies starter with an ERA below 5. Herman Marquez is at exactly 5. They petition. They go and they change something to an error instead of a hit. And now Herman Marquez, welcome to the sub 5 ERA. He's at 4.95 for the season. He joins Kyle Freeland in that group. And I wonder now if Kyle Freeland is going to invite Marquez to celebrate in Amsterdam at the Machine Gun Kelly show.
Yeah, I saw that he was en route.
Could be. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know if Marquez is a big MGK fan.
No, I saw that Kyle Freeland was en route.
Yeah.
Not that.
Well, that's what I mean. I'm saying, will he give him that invitation? I don't know if he's a big fan. We'll see.
I would. Yeah.
We have to see. Let's get to the letter from Richard L. Monfort. The L. It stands for whatever you want it to.
Who knows what it stands for?
We've not investigated that closely exactly. I've not gone back to the hospital that he was born to know and figure that out. But yeah, he sent out a letter yesterday to ticket holders. It was very long. It starts out strong.
Yeah.
I feel like. And let's see if it derails or if it's consistent.
Before I read some excerpts, obviously, like, I haven't lived in Denver for a long time. Does he always send a letter out at the end of the season?
The season ticket holders, yeah, I think that's pretty common for a lot of teams to do that. Well, once in a while, he will respond to fans via email on his iPad.
I've heard about that.
Which is a fun little thing to do. late at night if you're a little bit upset or cranky. So some owners in general have had certain proclivity for doing those kind of things. But the letter is just a general, kind of standard thing of, hey, here's how the season went. Thank you so much for being a season ticket holder. We appreciate you. And boy, we're so excited for 2023. Let's see how well Mr. R.L. Monfort did.
Here is what Dick Monfort had to say. Quote, our expectations were high going into the 2022 season, but unfortunately, we did not meet those expectations. It has now been 4 years since our last postseason appearances, and this is not acceptable. That's like the line that really sticks with me.
That jumped out. I thought that was incredibly direct and like pointing out the fact that they had made the postseason in 4 years. It was like, you could have gotten away without like that little line in there. So reading that, I was like, oh, okay, maybe that's a little harsh isn't the right word, but it's very direct, very stern, very poignant, very stern. Yes. And I was like, okay, let's see where else this is going. But I thought that was a good start and a fair accounting of this past season, as well as really the three previous.
Yeah. Shall I continue?
Please do.
Quote, our record was abysmal. Our defense was not what we are accustomed to. Our situational hitting was disappointing, and our pitching was inconsistent. End quote.
Abysmal? Is like, what? But he said, not the team, not the players, not the performance, the record, which is careful. But even still, even just looking at the record and calling it that, those are harsh words.
Someone went to thesaurus.com and made sure that they had the right words.
I think so. This was also where I wouldn't say it goes off the rails, but it really makes you reflect back on almost the exact same verbiage that GM Bill Schmidt used. They're on the same page. I'm not going to say who may have coached the other one up to say certain things, but yeah, it's okay. We've got, situational hitting isn't good, pitching wasn't good. And so, again, a lot of the same things we heard last month when we talked with Bill Schmidt. So that was kind of odd. He goes on talking about young players, prospects this, young players that. Okay. New rules coming up for 2023. Coors Field is awesome. It's the best stadium in the country, which is true. And then it finishes up. So there it's getting long and, not wanting to just focus on all the bad stuff, trying to distract a little bit. Okay, that's fine. And then this is where it wraps up, and then it kind of gets oddly interesting again.
Yeah. So, quote, we are grateful for your unwavering support. It was a challenging year for all of us, and we do not take you for granted. You are the most important part of the Colorado Rockies organization. End quote. I've got something to say.
Please.
Unwavering support. I see a lot of support wavering, first of all.
There's a lot of season ticket holders that have waved goodbye.
I see a lot of very wavering support for sure. So
that word did jump out. I was like, is that like a trick psychology of like, okay, you have to have unwavering support, or kind of like suggesting, hey, could you please have unwavering support so that when we do some crazy things and make some odd decisions, you'll still support us? Like I thought, an
interesting read into that.
Yeah.
Or was he referring to the fans who do the wave?
Ooh.
Or the fans who don't do the wave?
That's true. Yeah, there's only,
Thank you to the fans who do not wave.
Yeah. Well, there's only 40,000 in the stadium at a given time who do the wave, and then hundreds of thousands elsewhere that don't do the wave, aka are providing their unwavering support. All right, I like how we're spinning this here and breaking it down.
Because what does he mean?
This last part that he finishes on probably is the biggest takeaway. Not the first time I read it, because I did a skim. Abysmal jumps out. This is not acceptable. Jumped out. Unwavering, only halfway. But my second reading of his closing was like, what?
Here we go. Quote, we all want the same thing. This is why we are more dedicated than ever to bringing you a Rockies championship. End quote.
Kale, what the heck is a Rockies championship?
A figment of our imaginations.
A Rockies championship. So you go, well, that sounds right. Why didn't you use the words World Series? Why didn't it say World Series? That's the goal, right? Is to win a World Series. Unless you want to feel good about yourself and fall short of that goal and at least win a Rockies championship.
The Rockies already won the championship for the best Rockies around.
I guess.
We're getting real technical. Why didn't you say World Series championship?
That's what I'm saying.
No, like I get it now. I get it now.
Right?
I thought you were just being funny, but now I'm like, I understand that we are picking apart the word choice.
It was clearly avoiding World Series, which they have never done. And then you basically end your letter, and people go, "That's right, they've never won the World Series before." Or, "Hey, in our pursuit of winning the NL West, technically easier to do than winning a World Series. Hey, they haven't done that before." And now I'm upset again. So just a Rockies championship. You know, they are the best team, I guess, in the Mountain Daylight time zone, right? Because
yes,
Arizona is in the Standard time zone. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Kale's got more on this. You're puzzled now. You're like,
I'm puzzled.
Why does it say World Series?
It just doesn't make any sense. I'm also slightly insulted by the line, "You're the most important part of the Colorado Rockies organization."
Yeah.
It just, like, this is a great comment here. "You're the most important part of the Colorado Rockies organization" reinforces the belief that attendance trumps everything else.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Ooh.
So I thought that was interesting. It's kind of how I feel.
You know, to make an omelet, as they say, you got to break a couple eggs. And to win a championship, you got to do the same, which might mean you do some things that the fans don't like. But I think in the overall scheme of things, fans will come back if you have a very good winning product. So maybe you take a step back in attendance and the fans don't like the product in that moment, but they will come back in droves when you have a winner. And overall, you look back and say, oh, on average, we did much better than if we kind of kept things maybe at the status quo and just did things that were good for the fans. Like, well, we got to operate. We don't want to do too much here because we'll lose the fans. And if we do this, we're going to lose the fans. That might be why, you go and you sign Chris Bryant after just having traded away Nolan Arenado and lost Trevor Story and John Gray to an extent. But also, you don't trade away at the deadline to make yourself better for the future, essentially in 2 consecutive trade deadlines. That's because the fans aren't going to like that. So I don't know, you might be cutting off your nose to spite your face. The Grand Junction Rockies are cutting off their Rockies to spite their nickname or city? Yes. So the Grand Junction Sentinel.
That was a great transition, Patrick.
Thank you.
I know pointing out the transition goes against having a good transition, but that was good.
Put on my transition reel.
That was good.
Dick Monfort is no longer the owner or primary owner of the Grand Junction Rockies, which I think I must have missed that news. Jeffrey Katofsky, the same guy who owns the Northern Colorado Owls, who just got finished with their first season now in the new quote unquote Pioneer League. But yeah, Grand Junction is looking for a new nickname, and the managing owner of Grand Junction basically said, hey, there's the Trash Pandas down there in Huntsville, Alabama. There's also the Yard Goats. So Yard Goats got a shout out. So, hey, let's kind of do something
The Yard Goats got
similar.
mentioned first.
The Yard Goats did.
Let's keep that in mind. But yeah, I do, listen, they want to hop on they want a piece of the magic that all these other minor league teams are getting with all of the rebrandings that we've seen over the past several years. So that's fun.
Yeah, they want something.
Was there not a Twitter campaign maybe a couple of years ago to change the name to something else?
I think it was that it got leaked that they were thinking about the name Grand Junction Chubs, which is so interesting because when I was the assistant general manager of a summer collegiate league team, I was like, all right, well, what could we, rebrand as like a secondary nickname? We weren't going to change the name Boulder Collegians. That's a, historic name, has a lot of value, a lot of cachet. But I was like, what else could there be? And I learned, I was, looking at the flora and fauna of Boulder County and whatever. And there was a fish called the creek chub. And I was like, oh, we could kind of be rebranded, on Thursday nights as the Boulder Creek Chubs. And lo and behold, Grand Junction must have, read my mind or tapping my phone. They're like, yeah, we could be the Chubs. And of course, they got dragged for it. And I think they were like, oh, yeah, no, we didn't realize the obvious thing right there. So
Is that how it went down?
they didn't do that.
I feel like it went down very differently.
Okay.
I don't think I don't remember the specifics, but I don't know if your timeline is correct. Not
Okay.
timeline, but whatever.
Sure.
Whatever.
Yeah.
We'll continue. Let's talk about the Grand Junction Rockies.
Yeah, if you go to the basically if you just search Grand Junction Rockies and rename, rebrand, there you can read the article from Grand Junction Sentinel, because that's the only place that you could go to submit. They may have something on their website. I don't actually know that to be true, but the link that's in the article that I first read, it just has a Google Doc like link for you to do. So you copy, paste it, and all of a sudden you're in this Google Doc. Hey, what do you think the team name should be? What's your name? What's the reason why? And so, hey, go in there, submit something, and maybe, just maybe, you can name a minor league team, or at least an independent professional baseball team.
I love that.
That'd be pretty cool.
You know what I don't love?
What's that?
That we had to do this show while the Phillies game has already started. Would you like an update on the score?
Please.
Even though this is an attack on my culture. Phillies are up 2-0 right now.
Ooh.
Still the first, so.
Against Max Fried. That's even more impressive, but not as impressive as the Avalanche nachos that we have on the corner of Colfax in York. Friggin' love those. You know, if you're a member, which if you're not, you can get in 50 cents for your first month. If you want an annual membership, you get a free shirt from DNVR Locker. But with that membership, you get 15% off your tab, no matter what you're eating or drinking. This is almost too good to be true, but it is true. You get that price breaks on the tailgates. We've got a couple of Nuggets party buses coming. Nugget season is starting. Avs season is starting. It's absolutely popping off, and the place you got to be is the DNVR for all that and more.
Yes.
Game time tickets. Look, they've been around for a while, and some people are just finding out about them now. Good, because you're going to save yourself a lot of money, especially late. Just before a game starts or an event starts, sellers, they just want to get something for their money. So you can get up to 60% off the price of those tickets if you wait a little bit late. Sometimes you don't even have to wait. You can just get a good deal, get seats on the 50-yard line, behind home plate, on the floor, you name it. 15 million people use their site. And instead of just downloading the app, make sure you hit our link in the description so we get a little credit. And we can all kind of take a bite of the same apple there and feel good about it from Game Time app. So check out in the description of the podcast or over on YouTube on the DNVR Sports channel. If you've been in a car crash that wasn't your fault, you know now that on phones, they can register car crashes like immediately, like the police can be contacted.
Really?
Because it's like, tracking. Oh, all of a sudden you're doing 60 miles an hour and all of a sudden you're nowhere in the middle of an intersection. And maybe there's another car that has a similar situation. And so
Interesting.
that's helpful in that moment with that technology. But when it comes to a court case or injuries, medical bills, lost income, technology can only go so far. That's why you got to tap into Travel Legal Services and Travis Legal Offices. Don't assume the insurance company is going to look out for you and your best interests. It's not good. Insurance companies will go to great lengths. My head is spinning with friends over the summer who've had all kinds of various issues and had to deal with the insurance companies, and just how unfortunate, how stressful it was for them. And I told them to go to Travis Legal Offices. It's after the fact, but guess what? They're still dealing with it. It's like months later that they're still going through with it.
That's no joke.
No, so call Travis Legal Offices so you can get this done with, so it's not this weight that's on your back. Call them at 303-766-8766 for a free consultation on your personal injury matter. That's 303-766-8766. You can reach out 24/7 on the web at Travis Legal Offices. Suzie, yesterday we saw a new graphic or a new logo for the Hartford Yard Goats, and we said that the Isotopes were about to get one, and that this might be the best one.
It's a good one.
I love it. We got Super Orbit. The graphic that was on the Albuquerque Isotopes was, three-dimensional. He was flying through space. That looks dope. I think that might be the first mascot that's been incorporated into the logo.
Yeah, he looks like a real superhero, which I imagine is the whole point of this thing. But he looks like he could actually save someone.
Orbit's awesome.
Go Orbit. Love Orbit.
Yeah, there were a couple other new ones that did come out. Again, this is all part of Marvel and MILB's Defenders of the Diamond. A guy by the name of Benny Montgomery was pretty good on the diamond in the month of September. Oh yeah, by the way, did you see this one here for the El Paso Chihuahuas?
He's so cute and scary. He looks like a little sidekick.
He looks like a Pokemon.
He does look like a Pokemon.
Which is good, but I mean, not if you're Marvel. You don't want your mascots to kind of have that look to them. But I did think the Wichita Windstorm did have a cool little logo there. Windstorm Windsurge is just not a great nickname, but they're making up for it with the horse and the wing and all that other jazz. So, but Benny Montgomery made up for some lost time. He was a little bit banged up this year in the first part of the season. Ends up being named the California League Player of the Month in September. It's October 11th right now. I don't know what was taking them so long. Did they just forget to vote? They might have been calling people up, writing letters and saying, hey, what was your vote? We got to make sure this is proper.
Listen, it just goes to show you that it's not just us that kind of feel a little out of sorts as the season's coming to an end, tying up all those loose ends, stuff like that.
Very true.
Everyone is just simply human.
Yeah, he led the league in hits with 17, 7 doubles, second for the month of September in total bases with 29. So that was awesome to see Benny Montgomery doing big things there at the age of 20. Well, at Coors Field, some Rockies did some big things and also some big events happened, and it's time to hand out some awards in a sense. We might not be handing out MVP awards just yet.
No.
But these are a little more fun. These are like Slammies. Like the Slammies of the wrestling award. But we could call these Slammies. Actually, we can't because the Rockies didn't hit any Grand Slams this year. Oh. Yeah, so we couldn't. Three home runnies. 3-run home runnies, maybe the unofficial name. So, Suzie, I know you wanted to put a little praise and hand out a couple awards to some folks out there.
I did.
Or some things.
Some things. What do we have loaded in there? Favorite ballpark roast. One of my favorite moments, I think, of the whole season, but absolutely my favorite roast was Corey Sullivan telling you that you looked like Forrest Gump.
That was one of my favorites as well.
Yes.
I did get made fun of.
But you took it as a compliment. He didn't mean it as an insult.
No, he didn't.
But it was such a good roast.
I tried to get him to upgrade it to an insult, and he was like, no, I didn't mean it. And I'm like, no, but I want it to be. Like, to get roasted, you can only really be roasted by the people that know you and love you, your friends. So I wanted to upgrade it. But yeah, no, I definitely look like Forrest Gump there.
Yeah.
And the side-by-sides look even better. I did get roasted by Saunders, too, because he took a picture of me, like, on the second game of the season. Remember, It was like, maybe 50 degrees. Sunny for everyone at Coors Field, but not for us in the press box. I was all dressed up with the winter hat and the coat.
All bundled up.
Why not? I was bundled up and comfortable. So thank you. So do I win it or does Corey Sullivan, or do we split it?
I think you split it because it takes two for a roast. You need the roaster and the roastee just as much, equal parts.
Thank you.
Equal parts.
Very kind, giving me an award already.
I know. What else do we have loaded in here? Best scoreboard moment. This was the moment that went viral.
Yeah.
I have to pull this up because I can't read it from the screen. Pro tip, don't put up with anyone who is reckless with your heart. Life will be dramatically better if you don't pay mind to any heartbreaker. Unless it's a Pat Benatar song or the Mariah Carey song or the Led Zeppelin song. So to sum up, songs from Heartbreaker, okay. Song for Heartbreaker, okay. Real life Heartbreaker, tell him to scram. This was the moment I realized the person who's running the scoreboard at Coors Field is not well.
Little unhinged.
A little unhinged.
Yeah, that was a very funny moment. There were a couple of those. So for that one to have taken the cake, very much deserved because there were some funny ones. Yeah. I think some people might even bought a ticket once in a while to say, what the heck is going to be up on the scoreboard now at this point? So that one was the best.
I did a couple of other times later in the season, some visiting media took pictures of the scoreboard and that kind of blew up too. So the scoreboard really was the most successful thing to come out of the Rockies this year.
Yeah, keep your eyes up. Don't look down because you might see a sub 500 baseball team.
Yeah. Cal, what else do we have loaded in there? Best public apology. Kyle Freeland writing on the light, apologizing to it.
Yeah, I wasn't too happy. Was pulled from a game, just didn't have his best stuff. Borrowed a bat from Brendan Rodgers, and proceeded to do a little bit of electrical work there on the top of the dugout. They still didn't get it like properly fixed. Like that was the best version that we ended up getting there, as you can see on the DNVR Sports channel on YouTube. And yeah. Luckily, no glass pieces of glass were there. They cleaned that up pretty
I don't know if
quickly.
is that glass or is that more like a plexiglass plastic situation?
Sure. But there would have been glass from the bulb.
Oh,
At least
true.
a little bit. But
True.
They cleaned it up nice. Even the next day, we were expecting. We were talking about doing maybe a little trip and fall type situation, to see if we could win some money with Travis Legal Offices. But alas, they cleaned it up really nicely, and yeah, they put a Band-Aid on it. So again, all is well.
That was funny. Do we have anything else loaded in there?
That's all you sent me.
That's all I sent you. Okay.
So to preview what we've got coming up in article format the next couple weeks. Fan favorite, unsung hero. This year's fan favorite, I think, was really difficult. Last year was Connor Joe. It was very obvious. Is an award named after Ryan Spilborghs. I think he's almost like the ultimate fan favorite kind of guy.
Yes.
And I've got 4 names down, and I'm not sure which way this one is going to go
Okay.
until I sit down and actually write it. I don't know who the biggest fan favorite was of the season. Kale, do you have any thoughts as to who was the fan favorite, maybe regardless of their time even on the team?
If it's not Connor Joe, what are we doing?
Well, you know what? I think there's
That's a good point.
There's Connor Joe. I mean, everyone's favorite Rocky right off the bat. They
Yeah.
kind of slid off at the end of the season. I feel like a lot of people really loved Wynton Bernard's story, and even though his time in the majors was so short, people were still talking about him long after he got sent back down.
Yeah.
I agree, but it's Connor Joe.
It's Connor Joe.
No, to your point, Kale, you're like, when you're a fan favorite, you don't necessarily have to perform all the time. Like he did last year, which is what kind of, rallied the troops just a little bit. Actually, I think people really started rallying around Connor Joe even before he really started taking off in the second half. But you're right. Kojo he's on the short list, as is Wynton Bernard. And I think Jonathan Daza has kind of slightly become a fan favorite. A lot of the younger kids, when we would be there watching batting practice, would be there, and he'd be a guy they'd always be shouting for and trying to get his autograph. And then Charlie Blackmon, almost he doesn't even deserve to be in the conversation because he's almost like the permanent.
He's
know what I
already
mean?
Once you've been a fan favorite for so many years,
He's legendary. Yeah,
you're a forever fan favorite for
he's
sure.
in the legendary range. And then unsung heroes. This is really where I'm interested in your thoughts as to who maybe doesn't get enough credit. I had a couple names off the top of my head, and then as I sat back and looked, it's someone who showed up and who posted, but you don't go, oh, this guy was fantastic. But they were there, unsung hero. They deserve more credit. For you, what was a name or two that you really liked from the season?
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, I feel like I sing this person's praises quite a bit, and I think a lot of other people caught on board. But our president, Tyler Kinley, I think is an unsung hero for sure.
Yeah, he was great for those first 2 months. I agree. Also in the bullpen, Carlos Estevez was doing really big things. And Lucas Gilbreth followed up last year's freshman campaign with a really good sophomore one before he ended up getting hurt. So, those are guys that, again, you're not talking about them as, if you want to talk about the best 7th or 8th inning guy in all of baseball, you might not bring them up. But for the Rockies, they did their part in a really major way. I think Jonathan Daza, again, is kind of in that conversation. And then even a guy like Randall Grichuk. I think a lot of other people probably put Grichuk on a bigger pedestal and say, no, he was very easily one of the most key and important figures on the team. But if you have them just left of center on that, then I think he deserves to be an unsung hero. Same with a guy like Jose Iglesias, who did miss some time, only played 113 games, but was really critical throughout various points in the year, was up and down the lineup. I mean, he was batting 5th at one point, was hitting 2nd, was batting 9th, and was having 4-for-4 type games early on in the season. So he was really critical. He's the guy I'm leaning towards, but again, I'm not exactly sure how that would go. If you had to pick a reliever of the year, is there anyone that jumps out? I mean, it's Daniel Bard.
It's Daniel Bard.
But is Daniel Bard also the pitcher of the year? These are the conversations. You can give out multiple awards, but I don't. You only get one award in my book when it comes to the end of season type of awards.
I mean, if we're going to think about reliever of the year, obviously Daniel Bard is in that conversation. Tyler Kinley is also very much in that conversation. But all you can do is wonder, what if he had played longer than 2 months? And Estevez, of course, just all around great personality too.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
Kale, is it too much of the elementary school teacher coming out in me to want to make sure that, Daniel Bard, okay, he was probably the best pitcher of the year, clearly the best reliever of the year. But you know what? I'm not going to give you 2. Am I thinking too much about that?
It's okay. In real life, awards sometimes happen that way too. Like the MVP is almost always the offensive player of the year, but they almost always end up giving offensive player of the year to someone else.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay.
So at least that's like a little football metaphor.
Yeah. Is it the NBA or NFL kind of does it that way? NFL, right?
NFL, yeah.
Yeah. No, I think like the NFL. I think like the just collective NFL. So
Do you?
well, clearly
What a
I
take.
just found out. That's it. The
What
NFL
a
thinks
take.
like elementary school teachers as well.
Yeah, but I think that's fair. I spread the love a little bit. Maybe if he gets pitcher of the year, Estevez gets reliever of the year, More people
Yes.
get awards because awards are fun.
You know what? Awards are fun.
Yes, you want there to be not just a bigger smile on someone's face. You want more people to have that smile. And where can you get a better smile than at Green Mountain Dental Group? Only 15 minutes from downtown Denver. Right now, tell them DNVR Sports sent you, and you're going to get a $300 discount for a full orthodontics treatment for new patients. I appreciate you snapping there, Kale.
Kale and I just lost our minds over that.
That one was all time.
Wow, okay. Glad you enjoyed
Some of
that.
your best work here.
Appreciate that. And you can get a big white smile too with a $350 value bleach tray. Again, also when you mention DNVR Sports with a new patient cleaning, exam, and x-ray from Green Mountain Dental Group. And look, I think all 3 of us start our days with a scoop of Athletic Greens, 75
Heck yes, we do.
multivitamins. Kale, right?
Big in on the Athletic Greens.
Yes. It's actually very tasty.
They're like, I'm like big in on this. Like
Yeah.
I would recommend this to my friends if they weren't our partners, easily.
Yeah.
Listen, there are a lot of green juices out there, a lot of green powders, but Athletic Greens actually tastes good.
Yeah,
It
no.
tastes
And
good,
you can't
and
say that about all the powders.
you can't overstate the adaptogens, man. The adaptogens.
You
Look.
can't state it enough.
Tincture Guy Kale, a.k.a. Adaptogen Sorbo. He is all about it. Let's go. Seriously, it's a micro habit that we're laughing about it, but it is pivotal to the start of our day, especially when you're like, oh, I need a cup of coffee. You should wait. And if you don't, guess what? Have that one scoop and then see how you feel, because you're going to get a little bit more clarity and you might be able to hold off just a little bit. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you got to do is visit athleticgreens.com/ROC. Again, that's athleticgreens/ROC, the first 3 letters of Rockies, to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. Cleveland against New York. Let's break down some of these division series. Cleveland is plus 175 right now to win the series outright on DraftKings Sportsbook. New York minus 210. That is the second biggest favorite next to the Dodgers over the Padres. We got Cal Quantrill going in game 1 tonight against Garrett Cole. Both two, front of the line guys. But Garrett Cole, this is when his season starts. This is why he's the highest paid pitcher, or has the highest contract or largest contract overall right there. Game 2, Shane Bieber versus Nestor Cortez. 2 guys with sub-3 ERAs in game 3. In Cleveland, Luis Severino versus Tristan McKenzie. The weird thing is, there's going to be 2 off days for the American League.
Why?
Well, I think because if they were to have the same setup of 2, so in the National League, it's 2 at home for LA and Atlanta. Day off, 2 for the other team, Philadelphia and San Diego, and then they travel immediately to Game 5, so they don't get a day off. If both the AL and NL did that, we would have no games on Wednesday. So, or rather, we would have no games on Thursday. That would be the travel day for all the teams, and so they want to make sure that they've got those games on Thursday. So they'll give the AL teams off on Wednesday so that they can play their Game 2 on Thursday. So that's kind of weird. And then I think
that is really weird. I feel like this is going to, I feel like this is why I don't think the Yankees are going to do well with having day off, another day off, a whole series off.
Cleveland can rest up their bullpen fully with the day off on Wednesday. So that could give them a decent advantage right there.
I like Cleveland's odds here.
Even
though I know obviously, this is a Mariners podcast, but
hey, that was my DraftKings Sportsbook pick of the week. Was the Guardians in 4 to do it in Cleveland?
The more I think about it, I know you're right.
Yeah,
in my soul.
That'll be interesting to see what ends up happening there. We'll see if Josh Donaldson, Cleveland Guardians legend, remember that he played with Cleveland for like a minute and a half.
I didn't remember it.
Did he, or was that Atlanta? No, you got me doubting myself, but yes, he likes playing the AL Central teams. We know that much. And yeah, my guy Tristan McKenzie in Game 3.
Yeah,
like, that's
your
my
guy?
dude right there.
He's your dude.
I had him as the AL Rookie of the Year award winner last year. Just didn't get enough time, but love Tristan McKenzie just as much as you love the Seattle Mariners, who go to Houston tonight. I don't know if they've announced their starter yet. I think we got Justin Verlander on the hill in Game 1 and his 1.75 ERA. But it's plus 185 for Seattle and minus 220 for Houston there. And it's going to be interesting. I think Seattle, if they can win one of those games, it's going to be electric in T-Mobile Park. And maybe it's more than enough for them to possibly win it in 4 there. If they don't and they got to go back to Houston for Game 5, man, Minute Maid Park really gets rocking. So I don't like their odds in that situation. They'd have to do it in 4. They have to win one of the first 2 games for it to go down.
For sure. It's a great assessment.
Yeah, Logan Gilbert, of course, goes for Game 1 here in just a little bit.
What a picture they picked for him on MLB.com.
Yeah, he looks like Steve-O with long hair, just a little bit there. He's got the big chompers going on. So that'll be really curious to see how they do. Houston, what have we got? 5 consecutive ALCSs. That's wild to say the least. Now in the National League, I'm just realizing we could have an all NOLA NL Championship Series. We could have Austin Nola with Philadelphia, and then Austin Nola with San Diego, and then Aaron Nola with Philadelphia. Is that a first? Maybe, I don't know.
I mean, it's definitely the most Nolas I think we've ever seen.
Easily the most Nolas.
Yes. Listen, it's the second inning now. Phillies are still up 2-0. They've had 5 hits. Braves have only got 1.
Yeah. Plus 155 for Philadelphia, minus 185 for Atlanta. So that's got the biggest upset potential there. Obviously, they're in division, just like Dodgers, Padres, just like the Mariners, Astros. So
many in division matchups here.
Yeah, very true. Ranger Suarez on the hill right now against Max Fried. Game 2 is going to be Zach Wheeler, and Game 3 is definitely going to be Aaron Nola. I know for Atlanta, Spencer Strider is being tabbed to go for Game 3 with Kyle Wright in Game 2. So Strider, of course, missed some time on the IL. So that will be very curious to see how Quadzilla does. In Game 3 for Atlanta. Of course, that will be in Philadelphia. First postseason baseball game in Philadelphia in over a decade.
Oof.
It's going to be rocking.
Yeah, I will not be able to make it out there, but... it would be a vibe for sure. Put it nicely.
Is the guy with the Philly Fanatic tattoo on his belly with the open snout of his mouth as the belly button? Do you think he'll be there? Will he be on display? Does he have a name? That's what I need to know.
I follow him on.
Of course you do.
I follow him on social media. Yes, he's at Dumphy215.
Okay.
Yeah. So
does he follow you back?
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
We're social media buddies.
There we go.
Yeah, he's hilarious.
It's a big follow, the guy with the Philly Fanatic belly. And
Well,
then
it's like
other tattoos.
he's also filled out the because he went viral a couple of years ago, but since then he's fleshed it out even more. No pun intended.
Yeah. And look, you're running out of space for tattoos. Dunphy's might have a solution for you there. So, yeah, the gritty tattoos right there, front and center. He's got a couple numbers, too. I think he's got, Chase Utley's 28 on there.
I think so, yeah.
Number 3 for Allen Iverson. Enough about belly tats. Let's get to Padres and Dodgers. Plus 175 for the Friars. Minus 215 for the Dodgers. So obviously big favorites there. We were discussing yesterday in the studio or here at the DNVR in our offices. How do you successfully root in this series? Or how do you effectively root in this series? Kale, we're going to have to get to you in a second on that. How Suzie, what's your take first? Kale, you think about it. How do you root for this series of the two kind of most bitterest rivals right now of the Rockies playing against each other?
I mean, my take is you can't root for the Dodgers because they're just too good and they don't need the support.
Yeah.
Could you root? So I know a couple of people I think Adam was arguing this. If it were the other way around and it was Rockies versus Dodgers, I feel like Padres fans would vote for us, but I don't think we would return the favor.
Maybe.
I don't think Rockies fans have it in their hearts to root for the Padres either. Personally, my goal, I root for chaos always. Because both teams can't lose. All you can do is root for chaos.
And we know with the California tiebreaker rule with the runner on second base, it doesn't exist in the postseason, right? Because that's an advantage to end a game quicker. If you got to go through your bullpen and it ends up being 14, 15 games like we saw in Cleveland, well, now your bullpen is really taxed because you didn't get your job done, and now you're punished for it going into the next game. So the chaos would be it goes 5 games, and then game 5 is 22, 23 innings, something crazy like that, and the winner of Atlanta and Philadelphia kind of has slightly easier pickings. Now, here is something, too, that I didn't realize in doing my fair share of research, because you can never know enough. Can never know enough. Each game that the Padres are still alive and keep playing is one less game Fernando Tatis is suspended. So he can't come. Yeah, he can't come back this postseason. But
that counts.
That counts.
I didn't realize that counted.
That's wild, right? So it's only a couple. So even if they won out in the minimum, they swept in 3 here, and in the NLDS they swept in 4, and then they swept the World Series in 4. That's only 11 games, which isn't that much.
But this is kind of blowing my mind right now that's several games sooner that he can come back from his nonsense.
More games that he is punished for his nonsense and having to watch that. I kind of made the case.
That's a good point, too.
I don't think anyone's rooting for either of these teams, but you might root for a result. Like, hey, I just hope so-and-so doesn't win, right? And I sort of, the case that I made, and I don't know if this is exactly how I feel, because sometimes I like to think of what my options are before I decide to feel those options, is if the...
Patrick overthinking something? This never happens.
Has it? No, you're right. This might be my first time. But
first time ever.
If the Dodgers go on to win the series, win the World Series, whatever, evil empire wins again, Darth Vader, whatever, great. That sucks. But that does destroy the Padres, and maybe they're not able to recover. Rockies maybe allows them to slide up in the standings the next couple seasons. It breaks the Padres. We'll put it like that, right?
Breaks the Padres.
If the Dodgers win. So that's a good thing if the Padres lose. I'll phrase it that way. But if the Padres win, the Dodgers aren't going to be broken. The Dodgers are still going to be there, and they're still going to be the Dodgers. But now maybe the Padres become this, conglomerate, this mega,
this unstoppable force in the NL
West. And now you've got 2 of them to deal with. So therefore, I submit you almost want the Padres to lose more.
Interesting.
Kale, how do you like the rationale on that? Again, I'm not saying who I want to win more, but who I might want to see lose more.
I like your rationale, but nobody wants my opinion on this. So
yes, we do. That's why I asked. We do want to know.
I'm cheering for the Dodgers.
Oh crap! That's right. He roots for the Dodgers.
Yeah.
You didn't know that, did you?
I think I might have
Oh God, yeah. Last off
My
season,
dad's from Southern California.
he's got a satin Dodgers jacket that he wore once behind the scenes.
Oh wait,
it's actually
you didn't
dope
tell me
looking.
about the satin
I do.
jacket.
She cares more
I
about
do.
the style than the word
Well, I
font in the
love
front.
a satin jacket.
It is a dope jacket, but I totally forgot about that, Kale.
Yeah, my
Wow.
dad's
Right.
from Pasadena, so
Cut
We
his
talked
mic.
about this,
Kale,
yeah.
cut Kale's mic. Kale, cut Kale's mic. Kale, thank you for cutting Kale's
I
mic.
will say I can't tonight. I cannot root against my birthday twin, Mike Clevenger, my fellow Sagittarius.
Well, don't
Mike
worry
Clevenger.
because he's on the IL right now. So
Is he?
yes, but you don't want to root against his team. is
No, I mean, why is he listed as the pitcher?
I think he. No, I thought he was put on the COVID IL. I think at one point. Maybe he did end up coming back. I thought
He's
was going
listed
to be,
as. I mean, I think he's starting today.
No, Yu Darvish is starting in
Really?
game 2 and in game 1. All right, I guess he's back. You're right.
I think he's back. Yeah, that's why.
He's starring with Kale's face and my hair.
Yes.
We got to get some kind of mashup on that. So yeah. So again, one of those guys who goes on the COVID IL, but really just has a runny nose, and
Yeah.
teams might be manipulating, allegedly, possibly, legally, respectfully. That's kind of how it works. But tomorrow we will respectfully have Kevin Henry on at 11 a.m. Same Pat time, same Pat channel. Nope, had to say it. Sorry, too bad. Said it. But Kevin Henry, we're going to talk about St. Louis, Nolan Arenado, that Houston series. He's down there covering it. It's going to be fantastic. We'll do it again on Thursday, Friday Suzie show. That'll be at later in the evening around 5
It'll be a happy hour time. I like to lead into the FAC, the Friday Afternoon Club.
I like that.
it'll be a party. We love Suzie shows.
It's always a party. I'm trying to get a DJ.
There was a DJ in San Diego that was phenomenal, like in between innings.
Yeah.
That really kept a good vibe. That would be cool to have at
Yeah.
Coors Field. I mean, they have bands up in the rooftop, right?
No, I'm going to bring a DJ into this tiny studio.
Yes, I'm down for that.
That's a record scratch.
Could be.
That's why I'm not the DJ.
My only request, if you do bring a DJ into the studio, I hope it's LeMahieu. And on that note, follow us on Twitter at DNVR_Rockies. At Patrick D. Lyons is where I be on Twitter.
And you can find me at the Suzie Hunter on all platforms.
Hey, this has been great, but you know what they say about momentum?
What did they say?
It's only as good as your next show. So we'll talk to you tomorrow at 11 a.m.